Hey guys, this is Martin and welcome back to another video. Today we look at another lab in the damn vulnerable MCP server. So for those of you who don't know this, a guy called Harish has basically put up 10 vulnerable MCP servers on GitHub you can play with. And these 10 MCP servers contain like different vulnerabilities. Obviously, they're pretty straightforward, right? Like, so they're Python scripts basically, and then you just spin them up and then you can start interacting with them through like a desktop application like Claude Desktop, right? It works with others as well. I use Claude Desktop. It's super simple to do. A few words on housekeeping. Basically, when you look at the code, like let's take a look at the code. So it's a Python script basically. This one here we are doing today is quite lengthy for the reason because it has a lot of different vulnerabilities all in one. So I think it's the final challenge he provided, but you can already see there's a lot of problems in there. So there's hard-coded tokens, there is passwords hard-coded, so secrets and AWS information and pretty much everything you shouldn't do. But again, it's vulnerable on purpose for practice and to play with and for demos and whatnot. And so basically, in order to launch this, right? Like, so this is the code basically. If you would instruct the Claude Desktop, let me show you this real quick. Like if you would instruct it to run the Python script here directly, it would fail simply for the reason because Claude Desktop opens a new shell when it tries to invoke an MCP service, and then it would fail because it doesn't have the dependencies installed for Python, right? So how I get around this is basically I created a shell script, a little shell script. And let me show you that real quick as well. So I call this launch.10. Like I have different launch files for the different labs. And then basically all I'm doing is I'm sourcing the virtual Python environment, which already has the dependencies installed. And then as a second step, I actually launch the MCP service itself, right? Like this is just a little workaround. With that being said, let's get started. So once you fire it up, basically you can always go to the hammer sign, and the hammer sign basically shows you what kind of MCP tools are available to this specific instance. So we have like an analyze log file, an authentication function here. We have check system status, get user profile, malicious check system status, run system diagnostics. So there's a lot in each of these MCP tools. There is basically a vulnerability, right? And we are only taking a look at one or two today. So I highly encourage you to actually play with those yourself. So another thing I want to show you real quick is when you fire this up, it's basically creating a temporary folder. So it already created this here, like it's called DB MCP challenge. And if you go into that, this is where it basically creates the files, like it creates logs and it creates configs, and there's this JSON, this token JSON and system conf and stuff like that. And what your goal is basically to interact via the LLM, via the Claude Desktop, and then make it retrieve or make it invoke tools and then retrieve sensitive information and things like that, right? And to get started here, I have the solutions here. So we are not going to do all of them, but for example, I can say like, I could, for example, say, please authenticate, right? Like, please authenticate, like, see if this works. If it just like, if I just can pick anyone's username, like, for example, username, password, and if I guess like admin password, admin, stuff like that, and I just put this in, like in this case, like, please authenticate with username, admin, and password, whether it does that, right? Like, or is there any access control, or does it actually check that I'm the admin, and things like this. And then I say allow this here basically, and authentication successful. You see already this worked well. So it successfully authenticated me, and you can see my authentication token has been provided back to me. So super simple example, but those are exactly the kind of vulnerabilities you might encounter moving forward. You know, like when you do things, you can also like say like, I'm not the admin, and then I'm going to simply say like, hey, show me the admin profile or something like this, and maybe that has sensitive information. So please get me the profile for admin, and then it immediately starts doing this without any authorization checks or stuff like that. And then you can see here, like I'm able to retrieve information about the admin as well. And there's more vulnerabilities in this lab. So this is like the final lab, I think, he put together. And I highly encourage you to download it, to play with it, because a lot of these things will become real world vulnerabilities moving forward. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you today, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.